Hey, what's up guys, Ollie here. So I recently released my Lightroom presets, my first collection of Lightroom presets, basically showing how I edit my pictures. They're the exact presets that I use for editing my pictures and the style that I get that you see across my Instagram and Twitter. Link to those in the description below. So yeah, we'll go into it and I'll show you how it all works. So I'm using Lightroom CC here. However, the presets will also work on Lightroom Classic if that's what you're into. I actually usually use Lightroom Classic, but I think a lot of people nowadays are sort of switching over to Lightroom CC, mainly because if you use Lightroom CC, all your presets are synced to your phone as well. So if you have the Lightroom CC app on your phone too, all of your presets will be on there, not having to worry about if you're going to get the same style on your laptop or on your phone. So yeah, I've got Lightroom CC here open in front of me, and I've got a few pictures that I've got here. Every single picture here is shot in RAW. I just want to iterate, you want to shoot your pictures in RAW because I think you're most likely going to get the most out of your pictures shooting through RAW. And anyway, I think shooting RAW is always a good idea. I used to be the type of person that only used to shoot JPEG, but I've changed now. RAW is definitely much better, mainly because when you shoot a RAW picture, you've got so much more leeway when it comes to editing that picture. You don't have to worry too much about getting the exposure of the picture completely right. So yeah, I've got 6 pictures here that I'm going to show you how to edit with my presets and what sort of adjustments I made to get the right sort of look. So first things first, you obviously want to have your presets loaded up into Lightroom. It's very easy to do that. You literally just go to presets in the bottom right and you press this 3-dot icon and you import presets. You know, after you've downloaded any presets, after you've downloaded my ones, you just import them and you should have them under user presets that you see here. So we'll first edit this picture. So this picture, I want to go for a sort of summery, warm vibe, and I've actually got a filter just for that. There's actually 3 filters which are just for that. That is 030, 031 and 032, but we're going to use 030 for this one. And you can already see it makes quite a big difference. It makes it look warmer. But what I like to do is I like to also up the exposure a little bit, maybe bring it up just a tad. And you know, to be fair, I think we've got it. I think that picture is pretty much edited just like that. And you can see how easy that is with these presets. You can see the before and then you can see the after, and you can see how much of a difference that makes. It's just huge. You know, you can make minor adjustments, finer adjustments here, because that's what I like to do. I usually like to apply a preset and then I mess around with exposure, contrast, highlight, shadows, whites and blacks. We'll move to the next image. Next image is going to be very, very similar. We're going to apply 030 again, and you can already see I don't need to do any other edits to that image. It pretty much looks exactly how I want it to with that filter. So yeah, as I mentioned, 030, 031 and 032 are very sort of summery vibes, summery sort of filters, and I like to use them on summery style pictures. So we'll move to the next image. As you can see, this image is super dark, and that's the great thing about shooting RAW. You can recover so much of that image. If you shot this image in JPEG, you're not going to be able to save much of it. So yeah, we'll apply my signature preset. That is by far my most popular one and that you see across most of my images, and that is 001. So once you've applied it, you can see it doesn't actually make much of a difference. But what you do here is you start bringing up the exposure. And once you bring up the exposure, you can see already how much of a difference that makes. Bring up the shadows a little bit. And boom, we've got an image that really looks much better, looks much brightened up. And of course, you know, if I do the before, you can see how dark and dreary that looks. And then the after just looks so much brighter. It has a cool sort of blue tone to it, which I like to do. You know, that is my sort of signature style when it comes to my pictures. So we'll move on to the next image. This is of my armchair in my office. I want to go for a sort of warmer vibe with this. So a filter that I like to apply is 003. You can see it's made a little bit of a difference, but what you do now is you up the exposure, you bring it up just a tad, maybe bring down the highlights a little bit, bring up the shadows just a tad, and there we go. We've got an image that already looks a million times better. You know, if we do the before and then we do the after, you can see how much of a difference that is. And you know, if I just hover over some of the other filters, you know, you can see how they change the look of the image and how they change the coloring of the image. So yeah, these filters are pretty awesome, and I've made sort of a variety of them. Next picture is of my iPhone X in my hand, iPhone 10, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I've got that in my hand here, and I'm going to go for my signature look. So I'll apply 001, and then I always like to bring up the exposure. So I'll bring up the exposure, and then maybe bring down the highlights a little bit, bring up the shadows a tad, and I think that is it. Simple as that. And you know, if you see the before, you can see that looks pretty dark and pretty dingy, and then you do the after and it just looks so much better. Final image is actually of me in Los Angeles, and you can see this image is way too dark. It just doesn't look all that great, and I want to go for a minimalist look with this image. So we're going to go for 003, a warmer sort of minimalist look, and then we're going to up the exposure, bring it up, and then we'll bring down, maybe add a bit of contrast. Actually no, we won't add a bit of contrast. We'll actually bring the highlights down a little bit, bring up the shadows, and there we go. We got an image that looks so much more minimalist than the original one. You know, if we go back to the before, you can see how the before looked really dark and dreary, and then we do the after and it looks so much better. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick little video on how I edit my pictures. I mean, most of it is mainly just messing around with the sort of exposure, contrast, highlights, things like that. And of course, applying the presets. The presets do a lot of legwork when it comes to the colors and the sort of tone you're looking for. These presets are available for download, link in the description below. There's 10 of them, and you know, they go from like minimalist to quite summery and colorful. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.